Welcome to the Construction Tech Podcast, where we talk with industry leaders and discover the latest technology within their business. Whether you're a director of sales or a graduate looking to get into the industry, make sure you tune in and enjoy the episode. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and comment to add to your own views. The Construction Tech Podcast is brought to you by Laura Jane Recruitment. We hope you enjoy the episode.
So welcome to today's Construction Tech Podcast, where we will be speaking with Sensat. I would like to introduce you all to Duncan Kneller, who is the VP of Sales for Sensat.
So hi Duncan, how are you?
Hi Laura, I'm very well. Thank you for inviting me along today to talk about Sensat.
Fantastic, thank you for joining us. So tell us more about Sensat. What are you doing at the moment? What does the company sell?
Sensat basically has got two arms to the business. One side of that has been around for 4 or 5 years now, and the guys started out capturing data using drones, vast swathes of data across civil engineering and construction sites. But they very quickly realised that the data they were capturing, although it was highly useful, couldn't be used by anybody because the data files were too large for anybody to actually visualize, and the only way they could get them onto their laptops was to chop them up into small pieces, which kind of defeated the object. So we've been working hard to build out this visualization platform that allows us not only to view really large files captured via drones of the construction site, but also then to bring in all of the other contextual data that's relevant to that site and relevant to the users. So whether that's design information, whether it's inherent risks on the site, whether it's known geological faults, things like that, all of that information is useful for everybody involved in that construction site. And that really is where the core of the business is moving to.
Fantastic. And how are you finding the industry at the minute? With obviously we've had the pandemic going on for quite a while now, and obviously you joined Sensat during the pandemic. So you know, how have you found the industry?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm from the construction industry anyway. I've worked in the construction industry sold software into the construction industry for 20 years, so I understand the industry reasonably well. To be fair, the civil infrastructure industry is a little bit different to some of the construction industry I've known, a vertical build, but it's a booming market. COVID has placed different restrictions on organisations, and I think everyone's mindful that although for now, you know, the restrictions are being lifted and people are getting back to something that's normal, yeah. I think everybody's now very mindful that there's new ways of working, there's better ways of working, and lots of those ways are enabled by technology like Sensat. So Sensat's benefited, if you like, from the restrictions that COVID placed on people. And we're helping them to work in different ways, which is a great thing for the environment, because everybody traveling, everybody being on site is not good for the environment. It's not good for health and safety. It's not good for all of our own health and welfare.
No, exactly that. So obviously you touched on there, you've been in the industry for 20 odd years. You know, tell us how you actually got into the industry, you know, what you would, I guess, suggest to people, you know, looking to get into the industry as well, what they need to sort of look at, what they need to do. But how did you get there for starters? You know, how did you become in the role that you are today?
Yeah, my background was I've always been in and around construction. My family had a roofing business for many years. So my father is still around, but ran this business in our local town for many years. And kind of the thought was always I would just go and join that. But I think my dad had sort of different ideas and didn't really want me doing that. And kind of set me on quite a hard task to realise that I didn't want to do that either. So I moved into construction and civil engineering via a kind of an apprenticeship via the local authority, Sussex County Council. I then moved into a contractor that was doing high security barriers around MOD sites and other sensitive areas. And while I was there, I'd done a little bit of business development, and I quickly decided that I preferred the business development to the subcontractor management side of things. So I then moved into a sales role that was related to civil engineering. I had several years there until I saw all the money that could be made for salesmen in technology sales. So I thought, right, what do I know about technology? Nothing. I know a lot about construction. I was fortunate enough to find a business that was starting out in the SaaS world 20 odd years ago. So you can imagine that was, pretty entrepreneurial. Yeah. But they were looking for people that had knowledge of the construction industry to come in and sell for them. And I kind of had construction and sales, no technology, but they took a chance on me. And that kind of set me on that path of construction tech. And I would probably say, if not definitely one of the very earliest sellers of SaaS for construction in the UK.
Wow. Well, you are renowned. So I guess
in a good way, I hope.
Yeah, obviously in a good way. You've been in managerial positions for a very long time within a lot of highly rated businesses, is the way that I'm going to put it. Obviously before Iconics was taken over, you were there for quite a long time as well. So taking over from Sensat, Sensat's obviously new to the industry, and you'd also touched on about being green, and something that I'm aware of with regards to Sensat is most of your roles are remote based for that reason as well. That's how you sort of, I guess you get the right staff in, but at the same time you're saving the planet. So it sort of works on the same sort of par. So when you're looking for candidates for Sensat, because obviously we do a lot of recruitment, obviously with it being a new business in the UK, you are obviously looking to expand the business. What are sort of the main points that you look for? Obviously you've got a background in it, so you're obviously well aware of the right things that you need to look for as well. So I mean, what's the ideal person, but we don't really want that. We just want a sort of a roundish, what is the kind of people that you look for to come to the business?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, right now, the place where Sensat's at in their evolution as a business, we need people that have got some real hard construction knowledge, know the different roles, know the different pain points we solve for those roles, and the subtleties of talking to a project manager or a constructor or an asset owner or a design engineer. But I am a great believer that if you just stick with people that have got knowledge in that, you maybe miss out on a good pool of talent that are really good salespeople as well. So our priorities will change over time, but right now, I need people that understand the construction industry and understand how to sell. Yeah. And then moving forward, we'll be a little less fussy on understanding the construction industry and try and bring in smart people that understand how to sell, and maybe add a few new strings to our bow in doing so by bringing some new ways to us.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the CEO of the business is also part of is it 30s under 30s, I believe?
Forbes 30 under 30s, yeah. I mean, look, James Dean, CEO, is a very, very impressive character. He's very young. In fact, he's younger than my son. But he's a smart cookie. You can see why he's done as well as he's done. His co-founder, Harry, they've got a great relationship. And look, they're very, very smart. They've got a good outlook on life. And they really want to make Sensat about that whole green story as well. They want to bring people in that care about what Sensat can do to contribute to saving the planet. So they're very passionate about that.
Yeah, I think that's instilled in quite a lot of young people, isn't it? Especially with climate change and those conversations that we could have, but we're not going to have on this podcast today.
Yeah, and you can see why, Laura. Am I going to be around on the planet in 60 years? Definitely not. A lot of those guys are, and they need to be caring about it for their children and their grandchildren. So I totally get it, and it's good to be part of that kind of culture in the business.
No, definitely. And that's, I mean, obviously I've helped recruit for Sensat, to anybody that's listening to the podcast today. You know, I'm well aware of exactly, you know, how they treat their staff, but also, you know, exactly how green you guys want to be, and how that's also pushed out into your benefits, you know, benefits of working at Sensat. And that's definitely come across in the recruitment process as well. So it's all good.
Good.
So I mean, that's the main part of the podcast done. What I'm going to go through now is just some quick fire questions. These never end up being short answers, because it's always one of those that probably makes you think. So, you know, the first question, obviously you've spoken about your dad previously as well, and being a roofer, but who inspired you, and who's your idol, Duncan?
Who inspired me? Do you know, I genuinely don't have idols. I do admire greatly people that achieve things beyond what you would think, what you would imagine was a human capability, but perhaps even more so, people that achieve things that are beyond their capability.
Yeah.
And you know, so I get lots of idols, but when I see people that have done things like that, that really inspires me, and thinks actually you know, you can all do a lot more than you imagine you can do if you're put in the right environment and pushed. Yeah. So a little bit of a cop out there, no real idols, but I idolize people that achieve a lot from their lives, that are a lot more than they should have been able to achieve just by their pure talent.
But I found something similar.
Well, no, exactly. Never work with children and Google. That's that's definitely one thing. So next question would be, is how do you keep mentally focused? Obviously you work from home, and that's obviously something that a lot of us are now doing in the UK. So yeah. How do you keep mentally focused?
I have a really strict regime, break it down into blocks in my day, and I know what I'm going to be doing throughout the day. That gets disrupted quite a lot by the sales guys, dragging me into customer meetings and the like. But I try and maintain a certain amount of rigor. So I'm always at my desk no later than 8, normally quite a lot earlier. Yeah. I always take a break at lunchtime, and I go and walk my 2 dogs. And actually, that's more than just the dogs getting their walk. I term that my thinking time. And I'll take an hour walking, always get back in, then just watch 10 minutes of the news. But that break in the day is what keeps me fresh to keep going with all of the things that I need to do either side of that hour. And that hour might be listening to a podcast while I'm walking the dogs. It might be talking to one of the sales guys. It might be speaking to a customer or prospect, but it's getting me away from my laptop. It's getting me out walking. And it's just allowing me a little bit of headspace and thinking time to think about what else I need to tackle that day.
Yeah, fresh air and no screens. It's always a good move.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I live down on the coast as well, so I can walk along the beach, and it's just nice and fresh, and it definitely clears the head and gets you focused again.
Definitely. The sound's lovely, by the way. So these ones are probably more quick fire. iPhone or Android? Which one do you use?
Definitely iPhone. I've got an iPhone. I've had an iPhone for a good long time. Yeah, I love my iPhone.
Yes,
never had an Android, so I can't say whether I'd prefer it or not.
No, I haven't either. But when I've been given one by my friends, I've sort of gone, I actually don't know what to do with this phone. Just sort of give it back. It's one of those, it's just so different to an iPhone. I mean, even obviously trying to unlock it and things like that, it's just completely different.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, iPhone, what a blessing. I think about the days when I used to, as a salesperson, have a pager and stop in a phone box to ring the office, say, why have you paged me? Oh, so-and-so wants to talk to you.
Yeah, so and all you got was a telephone number, wasn't it, to ring? It wasn't even a message, because then they brought out obviously pages that then had little messages on them that you could then read, so you knew what you were ringing for.
Giving away my age there, aren't I?
Aren't we both? Early bird or night owl?
Definitely early bird. Sales guys are always remarking, was I crazy getting up at 4 this morning to write that email to them?
Yeah, I know that feeling. I'm definitely a salesperson as well, put it that way. This is the last question. I think it's actually a really good one. So if you could have breakfast with any one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Do you know what? Back to my earlier answer about people that inspire me, idols. I would love to have breakfast with Lance Armstrong. So I'm a very keen cyclist. Yeah. I know how hard a life being a professional cyclist is. In comparison, say, to a professional footballer that earns all that money for rolling around, the cyclists, they have all sorts of accidents. They just keep riding. What really intrigues me about Lance Armstrong is I think he was made a bit of a scapegoat through cycle doping and things like that. He was doing it and he was playing that game, but I think, and he's admitted that, but I think he was doing it at a time when if they didn't do it, they couldn't compete.
Yeah.
And I'd just love to know what really drove him to doping to achieve what he achieved, because he achieved a lot before he was doping, I think. And I'd really like to just uncover a bit more of the truth behind that. I'd love to spend some time with him and talk about that.
No, definitely. That's definitely an interesting one. Definitely an interesting one to put out there, Duncan. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on the Construction Tech podcast today. And hopefully we'll catch up again with Sensat during the year and see how you're getting along. Okay.
Thank you for inviting me along, Laura. Really enjoyed it. And we'll definitely be continuing our conversations around recruitment.
Fantastic. Thank you for your time. Bye.
Thanks, Laura. Bye.